My name is Penelope Chatterton. Welcome to Awaken the Dream. My friends, I have Diane Doheny from New Hampshire back. She is a great Infinite Way fan, a fan of Joel Goldsmith, and the two of us today are going to do a follow-up on my last monologue on Consciousness is What I Am. And we'll take a month at a time because Diane does the calendar for Acropolis Books. She is a communication director, a gal that wears a lot of hats with a lot of talent and a lot of devotion for sure. Welcome.
Well, thank you for
All right. The calendar.
Oh, good, the calendar, yeah. Well,
You
it's
worked so
interesting.
hard.
Well, it's based on the book, Consciousness is What I Am.
Yep.
And so it's broken down month by month, all the spiritual principles, culminating in December, which is Consciousness is What I Am.
Why did you pick Consciousness is What I Am?
Actually, I think it was Michael Krupp who had selected it. He's the publisher of Acropolis Books.
Because he
And
could have
thank
picked a
goodness.
lot of them, but he picked that one.
Absolutely. Well, he's gone through several, and we've done now Foundations of Mysticism and the Heart of Mysticism for the first two calendars we did. This is our third calendar. 2018, and it's done. 2018, and it's all
I
done.
know, you're scaring me. And it's good, and they're so beautiful, and the photography is magnificent.
Thank you.
The
A lot of
thoughts
other
for the
people.
day or for the month or however it
Keeps
goes.
everyone on the same page, Penelope.
Yeah.
It's just really a way that, spiritual principles, when you discuss them amongst Infinite Way students, has a way of keeping everybody on that same page.
We're all private. We're not organized, and
No.
in many ways, as you say, we can be on the same page over some thinking
Right.
and some thoughts around Joel.
Yes.
All right, what's January looking like?
Okay, well, January, it begins...
Other than cold.
Yeah, the calendar begins in January, obviously, and talking about consciousness as spiritual path.
Okay.
So,
Consciousness as spiritual path. So let's talk about the path. My thinking is, from Joel, is we're plunked on it. We're put on it, and I love that idea. It's like, I don't know about you, but the folks that came into your life when you grew and all of a sudden something happened where you found yourself on the path. I think I felt from Joel, my studies with Joel, is you can't go back because you're on it, and it's wonderful. It's such a gift. What's your thinking on the path?
I think that people have to be seeking it.
Yeah.
It's like we receive the message, and it's according to the level of receptivity.
Yeah.
The truth is we've always had it.
Yeah.
Whatever it is,
Yeah.
and we've defined that so many
We
ways.
got it all.
We talk about consciousness, and that really is all.
Yeah.
Consciousness has always
Yeah.
been, always
Yeah.
will be.
Yeah.
And Joel, I get a kick out of him. He says, there is no second coming of Christ, because he said, it always has been.
Yeah.
Christ always will be.
Yeah.
But,
Well, some of the mentors that have come into my life that I didn't seek, I mean, I've just been head slapped with so many miracles that put me in a different place spiritually. I mean, I think Joel says in one of his books, when you get some teachers or some folks that give you, I mean, how lucky you are, how wonderful it is when you get a little nudge. And I
Sure.
think we're guided, of course, on that.
Sure, isn't it when the student is ready, the teacher will appear?
Yes.
Or when the teacher is ready, the students will appear.
That's
you know?
correct.
So,
All right, what's,
February,
yes,
light.
Light.
Consciousness as light. Like right here, we can feel the light here as we're filming
Yeah.
this. But what do you think about when you think
Oh,
about the word light, especially in the season
guess
of Christmas?
what I'm thinking. In the middle of the night, I wake up and I'm in it because I asked to be in it, and I sink into the presence, and there it is. And with my studies, it's just encouraging me. It's encouraging my discipline, and the discipline's becoming more automatic. And that's my take on light. Is it's there,
Right.
and I sink into it, and I feel my chemistry change. I feel more relaxed. I feel safe. I feel all the wonderful things about light. What about you?
At this particular season, it just seems to me that everyone is talking about light, and you see all these beautiful colored lights. And, I guess the opposite would be darkness, and that human side of life sometimes can appear to be dark.
Yeah.
But when you are in this world and of the spiritual nature, I believe that the consciousness, which we call God or spirit or soul, is the light, and you can feel that.
Yeah. Nice take.
Yeah.
Moving right along. Moving right along. I wish I had one of those little.
Yeah, it's
All right.
March. I made notes just to make sure that I remember each one in order. But
Remember
March is is consciousness as realized truth. Realized truth.
Yeah, and realize to me says that you have to realize it. you have to know. You have to know that's what it is.
Right.
You realize it as an experience. That's my take.
Okay. And again, if you know the truth will set you free.
Yeah.
So again, to know it. But realize to me is actually walking the talk.
Yeah,
Realize means making the spiritual principles real.
yeah.
I love that word
Yeah.
realize. I
Yeah.
never really thought of it
Realized
that way.
is nice. It's like it actually has a practical kind of a feeling to it, because we're supposed to work consciously.
Right.
But that's nice.
Yep.
That's very nice. Okay, so we're to realize the presence.
Right. And then we go from there.
And believe me, at the end of the show, we won't have much
Put
time.
my glasses on so I can see this too. That would be nice to read. April is consciousness as meditation. Talk about the middle, the beginning, the middle, and the end of Joel's message, The Infinite Way.
Yeah.
It's all about meditation.
Yeah. Yeah, I think of something that just shot into my mind. How are you doing with silence? Is something I remember from one of his books. Because that's the name of the game. I mean, if life isn't unfolding, how are you doing with your silence? How is your meditation practice?
Right.
It's something we do. It's a practical. He even said Jesus was very practical in his message, but it's practical to meditate. It works, and we have to do it. What do you
It's
think?
the listening, I think. It's for me, I feel like when I go into my meditation, and
Yeah.
I'm sure everyone goes to the same place, there's a lot of noise at first.
Yeah.
It's like, the outside world, and we are being bombarded every day by lots of information, lots of imprints. And when people place their heads on the pillow at night, you can review your day, you can review the decade, you can review lives past, but when you're in the meditation, there's nothing.
The
We've
vacuum.
talked about the nothingness. There is that silence, and that's where God is.
Yeah.
And I think you could take all of Joel's work and summarize it into one word, and it would be listen.
Listen. Yes.
Because that's what meditation
Yeah.
really is to me. It's
Yeah.
listening and
Yeah.
being one with.
Yeah, quiet down, be an empty vacuum, a vessel,
Yeah.
and open,
Yeah,
and then let God speak.
exactly.
Good.
Yep.
All
And
right.
then- we're moving right along through this year.
We're such teachers.
Really, June is consciousness as clear transparency.
Okay, we're transparencies. We're an expression. We've been created as expressions. All of us individually are different expressions. Where am I going with this?
Well, because when you're a clear transparency,
That's the word I was.
the people that you see, for example, I think about some of the Infinite Way students I've met and teachers.
Yeah.
And to me, because they've been studying for so long,
Yeah.
it's, as Joel said, it's not the study, it's not the going to classes or talking, it's the actual being of the message.
Yeah.
So when people have that, they become,
Yeah.
I think, that clear
Yeah.
transparency.
That word is almost like you can see transparent. You can
Yeah.
see through it.
No filters.
No filters. It's like, we can move into that
Right.
place and be transparent.
Absolutely.
Which means we listen and we receive.
Right. And people will seek that. They may not know what you have, but there's something about you that,
Yeah.
that feels to them
Yeah.
peace or
Yeah.
the message of that oneness
Yeah.
and beyond thoughts and words,
Yeah.
as Joel
That's-
would say.
Yeah.
So,
All right.
okay, so again, now we're going back to.
We're May?
We are in July.
Oh, did
We've moved right along. Yeah, May was, we missed May, you're right. Wow.
It's my birthday month.
Missed-
Come
yep,
on.
That is the consciousness of spiritual healing. Yeah.
And we all look for spiritual healing. We all have reasons to want to be spiritually healed. We all have our own issues. I know Joel mentions in one of his books, as we're all beginning students. So the first thing you do is you don't go out and try to save the world. You work on your own stuff.
Right.
So you get your stuff in order.
Yep.
You don't go out and,
Well, it's
That's-
interesting that these would follow because we're talking about meditation, and that is the seat of spiritual healing.
Yeah.
We go within, and I know that because I'm a counselor, I work a lot with people,
Yeah.
and they come in seeking the loaves and fishes, as Joel used to say.
Yeah.
They want something, and they want to be healed. They want their family relationship to be healed.
Yeah.
They want the diagnosis to go away. They want all of these things.
Yeah.
And you and I, or anyone that is in a position of a teacher or knowing the Infinite Way and being a student, we can't give that to them.
No.
We can, within ourselves,
Yeah.
go to where we know the truth is.
Yeah. That's very
That's what
interesting.
heals,
Yes,
I
Joel
believe.
does say we all have to walk this alone.
Yeah.
You missed May. Shame on you.
I know, so
now,
that was,
did
that
you go
was
to
May.
June?
Yeah, I'll do that now. I'll do that now. We did June, which is clear transparency. July
yeah.
is consciousness as world work.
Ah. Joel is recommending we do world work.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
That we think of the world and that we throw out thoughts around, may human consciousness be raised. And that we all want that. And we get into that space of extending that prayer. What do you think?
I think that's, I think I ditto that. It begins, everyone wants world peace. Well, world peace begins right here, and I think that if everyone were able to practice that, the world would be a different place. But it's enough sometimes that those on the spiritual path know where to go when they need that peace to come in, and then others benefit just by being within the realm of that consciousness.
That is so true. Well said.
Oh, thank you.
Nice.
Thank you.
All right.
So we go from there. The year's traveling.
We're
Just
whipping
quickly.
through.
So August was based on oneness, consciousness as oneness.
Oh, first thing that comes to mind is we're the same as the blade of grass, a drop of water, the clouds. We're under the sea, in the air. We're all breathing. I love the idea that we're all breathing together.
Right.
That's my take.
Yeah, and even at this time of the year, we're talking about, we're in December right now in real life, but people all come together around that season. They seem to be more in that spirit of oneness.
Boy,
you can
that's
see
true.
it.
Yeah.
You can feel
I
it.
happen to love the season
I do too.
in particular. Yeah.
Yeah.
Can blame it on my mother. But really, it's just so festive and healing and loving, and people think of one another, and
The way it's supposed to be.
yeah.
And from there, let's see, we go to consciousness, and this is September, consciousness as grace. Yeah, that's a big word.
Grace is the gift. We are given grace. And I think of grace as a wonderful, awesome mystery. It's just overwhelming. It's so beautiful.
Right.
We're given gifts.
Right. Nothing the ego can do or control about that.
No.
We want it, and everybody sees it, and yet it is coming through. It's something that we talked about, clear transparency, and I believe that's really what grace is. It's a clear transparency.
Yeah.
Yep. Well,
Yeah, we're always all right in grace.
Yes, yes. Well, you can feel that, and you can see it. I think it's observable and demonstrated by people who arrive at that place.
Yeah.
And what was it earlier we talked about? To go to that inner sanctuary of the innermost being of yourself and stay there.
Yeah, I know.
The difficult
Joel will
part
say,
is to
how are
stay
you
there.
doing with that?
Yeah, yeah.
There's a little sense of humor with that gentleman.
Yes, absolutely. Yep. And let's see,
All
I
right.
keep putting my glasses on now because I can
We're
read with them.
13 minutes in, so we're
Okay.
doing great.
Okay.
We're halfway through.
So October is consciousness as fourth dimension.
Now, this is a question for you, because people talk today about a fifth dimension. I mean, in Joel's day, that was the dimension. It was called four. And what does that mean to us? It just means it's not the human dimension. That's
Right.
what that means to me. It's
Right.
the spiritual
Heaven on
dimension.
earth.
Yeah.
I think it's
Yeah.
the level of consciousness where people are will vary. I think that there's different.
Oh, there's stages and states. Yes, all of us are in a different place.
Right. Different altitudes, as he talks about in
Yeah.
one of his books
Yeah,
too. It's like,
that's right.
it's based on the level of awareness.
Yeah.
I know that I see people, and I watch and I observe a lot, and not that I'm different than anyone else, but I know that because I have followed this path and really study it and meditate, that I can bump into the same things, but I don't feel as though the level of suffering is as great when we don't know what the fourth dimension is. I know that's a little bit complicated, but it just seems as though that to know and to raise above that level of third dimensional living, which is surrounding us. We can't help it. We live here. We're human beings.
Yeah.
But I pray every morning, please God, don't let me be a human being today.
Yeah.
Let me spend more time
God did
on that
not create
spiritual.
those human beings.
Right. Let me spend more time on that spiritual realm today.
Yeah.
Moment by moment.
Yeah. Very well
So
said.
that was the fourth dimension.
Yeah.
And now we're going to November, which is consciousness as infinite supply.
Ah, supply. We need to pour. First thing I think of is
Yes,
pour
good.
out to have.
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And that's, I can't think of a simpler way to say
it's beautiful.
you have to pour out
Right.
your love, taking care of one another, loving your neighbor.
Yeah, there's
Giving.
nothing lacking and no one's missing in consciousness.
Yeah.
And I think
Oh, there's
that's
something for everybody. There's plenty for everybody. I keep thinking about that. You know, there's never a lack.
right, right. Well, again, because we've been born into this world, we're used to turning on the television
And hearing about it.
so and so has this, and
Yeah,
I've got that,
and
and he
they're-
just this, and it's like before we know it, we're in this. I was going to say material medica, but it's like that. God,
Yeah.
watch the TV and the commercials. And as I said to you earlier, it's nice to be able to mute those commercials.
I know.
And a lot of the material wanting and needing,
Yeah.
we're still human beings.
Yeah.
We have to kind of cut ourselves some slack, though.
I know.
You know.
And keep doing what we can.
Right.
You know, it's important that we do what we can.
Right.
Yeah.
Which leads us to December, which
Yes.
is consciousness is what I am.
Yeah.
All of those spiritual principles culminating in that last month,
Yeah.
which means we are all of those.
We
You
have it
know.
all. We have that dimension.
We are
have-
that, yes.
We are that.
Right.
That's good to remember. That's like, talk about a Gibbs head slap. I always think, yes, we're home. We've got everything. Why am I not there? So that's what grounds us.
Right.
It's like we can skid down, we can go within, and we can rest in that.
Right. You know, it's interesting because I watch, again, because of the nature of the work that I do, people will come in and I'll say, you know, how is your meditation? How's it going? And I didn't have time. 5 minutes, I ask them each day, just take 5 minutes and just sit, or before you begin your day,
Yeah.
just take a couple minutes in the morning.
Yeah.
Didn't have time, had to get up, get the kids ready to go.
Oh.
So they're off to the races. And especially this time of season, people are running around.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
know I used to do this too, but thank God, for some reason, this season, this year, I just watch a lot, and I'm really enjoying being in a more peaceful state.
Yeah.
It's not about the gifts, it's not about the
Yeah.
hustle and bustle. And it doesn't mean I'm perfect, because believe me, we talked earlier, we can just be thrown off the path like that.
I know.
But we know the way back.
You made a good point around this season. I've noticed it too, that despite all the chaos, everything's okay. I always think everything's
That's
fine.
consciousness.
Yeah, we're all fine.
Right.
Especially when we see such tragedy in the world and all. Yeah, that's hard. We're sensitive and we want people not to be starving and suffering, and we've got to always know everything's all right.
You know, I think that that's absolutely truth, and how you get there from here is
Yeah.
like, you know, I guess
Yeah.
banking time in that silence so that the meditation becomes a reserve. And we have that always available so that when someone's coming to you and seeking help,
Yeah,
you have something to give.
Yeah.
It's not yours.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
yeah, it does make sense. And you know, the suffering and the human dimension going on is what gives us the kick. I know in one of Joel's books, he has said, sometimes the tougher it is, the more you do get on the path because you have to.
Yeah. When problems stop, you stop growing.
There
as
you
they
go.
said. But, you know, again, I hope to arrive at a place, and again, this is a daily spiritual reprieve we have. You know, we're so lucky to know these spiritual principles and try the best we can operating from that place every
Yeah.
day. But when I see and I hear, and I do, believe me, I hear a lot of stories, it's not to say that, you know, someone coming in with a diagnosis, I can't say that that's not the truth,
Yeah.
you know, but I can know that whatever comes up for myself, and I know that this is true for people I've seen heal from many, many things, you know that there is a safe place to go, that you're never alone,
Yeah.
and that the healing takes place there. I mean,
That's
I've seen
right.
some amazing healings, and I'm sure you have too.
Yeah.
Amazing. Because the
Not
truth
as many
was
as I would
revealed.
like.
Yeah, the truth was revealed.
Yeah.
You know, whatever that may have meant for whoever it was.
Yeah.
And that's the part, for me, the frustration is not being able to give that to someone,
Yeah.
but to be able to be that
Yeah.
is the giving.
That was kind of Joel's launching pad with his dad when he saw that healing. That got him right into
Right.
Christian Science. He was a practitioner, a businessman, and then found the organization wasn't the dimension he wanted or felt we could attain.
Right. And yet when he did, and I believe that he had to face the same frustrations we all do when you're working with students,
Yeah.
and wanting so much for them to again
Oh, he loved
elevate
his
that
students.
level.
Oh, he loved his students.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
By the way, we are about 8 minutes out, and we have not mentioned the calendar and where folks can.
Oh, sure.
Let's get a little business out of the way
Okay,
here,
sure.
my friend.
Yeah. The calendar can be found on Acropolis Books, which will be at the end of the show listed.
Yeah.
And thank God for Acropolis Books, because they have maintained the 49 books of Joel's, which people can still be able to order. And again, because we're not organized and there's no marketing involved, it's
Yeah.
not about, selling things.
Yeah.
It's carried on through the awareness and the consciousness of individual students, so that if people do want the calendar, they know to go to Acropolis Books, and thank goodness we do have, Acropolis has maintained
Yeah.
the legacy of Joel and all of his books,
Yeah.
and always will. Hopefully it'll always
You'll
be
be
carried
doing
on.
this forever,
Yeah,
because there's always another year coming.
yeah, we'll see, yes, yeah. We'll take 1 year at a
What's
time.
your shelf life look like?
We'll take 1 year at a time. And also, I should say, too, Denise Jutras, who we've talked about before, has her publishing is called Mystics of the World.
People need to know that.
And that's another one that we'll be sure at the end of the show, because anybody that's looking for the books of these mystics
Yeah.
who would have been long forgotten, but thank goodness for Mystics and for Acropolis,
Yeah.
they're now and still always will be
Yeah.
hopefully available
Yeah.
because of the work that's done
Yeah.
there.
Being a mystic is phenomenal. Just the whole concept of being a mystic like Jesus and what he attained. I can still remember what he knew what he was here to do. He knew what his assignment was, and he fulfilled it.
Right.
And what a monumental figure.
There have been many.
Yep.
And
And Joel
yet-
is one for me, and Mary Baker
Right.
Eddy,
Ordinary
and
people is
Krishna,
ordinary-
and Buddha. Buddha mind.
Right. And I think
Ordinary people, yes.
Yeah, I've forgotten the name of the book. Was Ordinary People as Monks and Mystics. I've forgotten who the author was, but it really talks about how that shows up in everyday life.
Yeah.
And in order to be a mystic and to really practice spiritual principles, you have a daily assignment.
Yeah.
And I think that's enough for most people.
Yeah, I always think of mystics in disguise because they're private, and the mystical work is private, and it's very inner, and they're all over the place.
And yet it's felt. There's a feeling level.
That's a good point.
It just
yeah, you can feel something.
there's more or less an attraction, and there's something there.
Yeah.
And again, that's what consciousness is.
Yeah.
But even as Jesus said, of these things I do, you will do greater. Oh no, I could never do that. I could never heal someone. I could never, walk on water or whatever. But that's exactly
Or go
what
through
the
walls.
message was, right? The
Yeah.
message was, within your consciousness, you can do all things.
Yeah. So what is it? Straight is the gate, narrow is the way, and few there be that find it.
Yeah.
That is, it's good to know that we have a challenge we can meet.
Right.
And maybe it isn't easy, and maybe it requires discipline. Joel
that's the
talks
word.
a lot about discipline.
Yeah, that's the word.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a harsh word for life. I remember growing up thinking discipline. It was almost
Yeah.
like, it was one
I
of those
know, it
harsh
sounds like
words.
you're being
A lot of work.
punished.
Yeah, a lot of work. But
You screwed up.
yeah, spiritual maturity or maturity, I guess that's a good word, means that you have done the things. You can't help it.
Yeah.
It's like you're drawn to do and to be on that path.
Yeah. It's good to have to look even back in your life to see where your discipline took you. Think of the things, the chapters you've had where you weren't maybe in the fourth dimension or
Right.
thinking mystically, and the drive that you had to do something well.
Sure.
I honor that. I
Yeah,
think it's a
good.
nice trait to, yes, I love doing that, and I love doing it well. And then, gosh, I was so surprised this opened up. I never thought this would sort of fade.
Right.
The creative life is really something.
It's amazing.
And it just keeps happening
Yeah.
and unfolding. And
Especially when we get out of the way.
I know.
We get out of the way, and that spiritual unfoldment is right there.
It's
without
good to
doing
be
it.
excited.
Oh,
Life
absolutely.
can't get stale if you realize that it
Right.
doesn't have to. You don't have to end up repeating patterns and feeling like it's over. It should never feel over. It should always be exciting. And there's always, that's what we are. We're creative, wonderful energy folks.
Right.
And
Sure.
yeah, we should not be afraid to try.
That's a good message.
Yeah,
Good message.
yeah. It's the marathoner toe dancer.
Yeah. That's what you did.
You can do it. Yeah, yes, yeah. Well, you've got discipline. You've got discipline. And Joel, oh my goodness, what does his mother say to him? Joel, you want to find God? And he got on that bandwagon, and yes, he did. So early on, we were mentioned being on the path when he saw his father healed. I mean, it's wonderful, the gifts that we do get, the little head slaps that we get to say, I want to do that, or I want that. Or
But the seeking that he said was not for the loaves and fishes, not for the healings,
no,
but for the consciousness and that Christ energy that is felt.
yeah.
And that,
Yeah.
Joel didn't arrive at that early. He actually worked to find that himself, but he
Yeah.
realized that people were coming to him and saying, I want this, I need a job, I want my relationship healed, I want all
Yeah.
of these things.
Yeah.
And although that's a real attraction for a lot of people,
Yeah.
that's not the message. That's
No.
not the meaning of the message. Of all those things that will be given to you,
Yeah.
unto you, if you do
Yeah.
understand
Yeah.
what really
Yeah.
is the
You
truth.
become the partner that you want. Joel often said, gee, if I picked your partner out, what would happen? You could fall apart and, I don't want to do that. Become what you want. Become
Right.
the best partner for someone else. It's
Good.
that pouring and that that
Right.
beautiful loving vortex that we are, where we're vibrating.
Absolutely.
I love still looking. Nature is just always blows me away.
Yeah.
Right now it's a little,
Yeah.
it's rugged out there.
It is. A lot of good snow scenes, though. But,
yeah, and
even
lots
in,
of beautiful lights against the white. Yeah.
yeah. It's funny because the December now, we're just finishing up this calendar. The 2017, which will be available, is all Hawaii. And so that'll be available now. People will start on that January 1st.
We have 2 minutes to go. So again, Acropolis Books,
It'll be on
Mystics
of the World.
of the World,
Certainly.
and Joel Goldsmith. And if people want to study him, they can go to your friend. What's her name?
Denise
Denise.
Jutras.
Yes.
She's
And
Mystics of
I
the
go
World.
to the library. Right now I have a book that just came from California.
Yeah.
It's just amazing how libraries will, and,
Right.
and there's always a way to find Joel
Yes, it
information.
is. Yeah. It's passed on from person to person.
Yeah.
It's really the way it's always
It's such a
been delivered.
lively movement. It's so filled with grace and peace and
Right.
joy and
Yeah.
hope.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. In fact, I have this quote from Joel's
minute.
Christmas, all right?
You wind it up.
All right.
All right, wrap
This
it up,
is,
lady.
This is speaking of Mystics of the World. This is the Infinite Way Christmas message.
Oh, read that.
And so
Yeah.
Joel says, realize within yourself the Christ, the Christmas day. Let every day be a Christmas day of realization. And then share that Christ into the world and let it touch those who are prepared. So that's Christmas. I mean,
Merry
really,
Christmas.
Merry Christmas to you too.
Thank you so much.
Oh, it's my pleasure.
Diane.
Glad to be here.
I
Thank
really
you.
loved having you on the program. My friends, thank you for joining me on Awaken the Dream. We will talk to you again very soon. Merry Christmas.